Hi guys, welcome to our new video where we'll be discussing about how to transpose a matrix. This is a question from Leetcode and the difficulty level for this question is easy. And now let's start understanding the questions and the constraint that I have been given to you. So the question states that you have been given a 2D matrix and you have to transpose the matrix. Now by transposing of matrix means that you have to convert the rows to columns. So if you see this 2, 4, minus 1 was my row. Now this has been converted to a column. And then my second row to my second column, third row to third column, and so on. So this is what is transpose meant. And now let's understand the constraints as well. Now in constraint it says that m is the number of rows that you have and n is number of columns that you can have, and both of these can vary from 1 to 1000, but m into n cannot vary from 0 to 10 to the power 5. Now this is very important to note because this will be taken into consideration while calculating your space and time complexity of the question. Now, the last constraint that have been given to you is stating that any value of the matrix will vary in the range of minus 10 to the power 9 to plus 10 to the power 9. Now, this means that you can choose the data type of your matrix accordingly. So this is the question. Now let's start understanding this with a example where your n and m is different. But in case in your question it is clearly stated that you have been given a square matrix, the logic becomes totally different, and you can actually reduce the time space complexity and not the time complexity but actual iterations you can reduce to half of it. So but we'll not discuss that for now because right now in this question it has been clearly stated that your m and n cannot be same or may be same. So it's totally up to the test case that they give you. So we'll make a logic which works in both the cases. Now let's take an example where your rows and column are different. So if you see in this example, my rows of my actual array is just 2 and columns is 3. Now by after transposing, what I want is I want 3 rows and 2 columns. And if you see the values, my first row had value 1, 2, 3, but my first column in my new matrix has those values. My second row had 4, 5, 6 value. Here my second column has those values. So this is what we want to achieve. So over here if you see there is a slight logic where you say that ARR, practically I'll say this as old ARR. Let's write this as old ARR, old array I comma j should be assigned to the value. This value should be assigned to new arrays j comma I. So this value should be assigned to new arrays j comma I. Now let's understand this. So if you take from old array, so for old array I'll write indexes and I'll write corresponding values index in the new array. Let's change the color maybe. I and j of my old matrix, I and j of my new matrix. So let's take the first value, that is 0 comma 0. So 0 comma 0 is again on the same place in old and new. So 0 comma 0. But if you take 0 comma 1, 0 comma 1, that is value 2 over here. You see this. So this 2 value comes over here. The index is 1 comma 0. Now if you take 0 comma 3, it becomes 0 comma 2. uh, Let me write this clearly. So 0 comma 2, because we'll not have 3 for sure, it will become 2 comma 0, and so on. So if it is 1 comma 0, so over here in new array it would become 0 comma 1, and so on. So you see this logic working that we have mentioned. Now the algorithm for this question is similar. So let's go to the algorithm, start understanding the algorithm, and then we'll write the code for the transposing the matrix, and that's it. So let's go to the algo path. So I've already written the algorithm for you guys to save some time. So over here, the first step states that create an empty array of size m into n. Now over here, I've taken m as number of column and n as number of rows, which is different from what it is given in the question for now. But let's understand, because it is easier to identify n as number of rows. So that is why I am assuming I am assuming assumption n in original is number of rows. So for number of rows, let's shorten this up. So this should be number of rows, and m is equal to number of column in original array. So this is my assumption that I have done for now. So okay, so we have to create an empty array which has number of rows equal to number of columns in the original array, and number of column equal to number of rows in the original array. So this is how we create a new array. Initialize this array with all values as 0, because when you initialize any array, the default values would be 0 in it. Now you have to run two loops inside each other, one for I, that is basically meant for row count, and this is j, that is maintaining the column count. Now for each I and j, we would say that new arrays j comma ith element is equal to old arrays I comma j. And if you remember, we just wrote this same logic and we have proved this logic as well. Okay, now the what is the time complexity and what is the space complexity for this? So time complexity is nothing but m into n, because we would have to iterate on each and every element there in the matrix. So my time complexity becomes m into n or n into m, anything that you want to write that. And the space complexity is again same, because we have created another array of same number of values in it, but of different dimension now. Okay, so time complexity and space complexity is same, that is m into n for now. Now let's jump to the code and then let's do the dry run. But if you're liking my explanation or liking the video, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that gives us an motivation to keep preparing new videos on new topics that you want us to do for you guys. So now this is the code that I have written in Golang, but you can write this code in any language of your choice, whether Python, .NET, Java, JavaScript, any language that you want. As far as the logic that is written over here is exactly written in your language. Just the syntax change would happen, but you can understand the syntax over here and replicate that in any language that you want. Now if you remember our algorithm, let's again revise our algorithm. If you see, so the first step says that we have to create an empty array with size m into n. Now m is number of columns and n is number of rows in the original matrix. So what I have done is I have created two variables over here, n and m. So n represents the number of rows. So this is number of rows and this is number of columns. So n into m. So now I have to create an array, empty array, which is of size m cross n, right? So I have initialized an array with m number of rows, means the exact number of rows which were the exact count of columns in my original array. So m is my number of columns in original array. So this is my row count in my new array. Okay, and now for each row in my new array, I am again initializing one more. I am initializing the row of my array with n number of columns. So in other languages like Java or C Sharp, this can be simple one-line code, but in Golang it is three-line code. So this is my step 1. Now my step 2 states that I have to run two loops for I and j, and I and j both should start from 0 to n or 0 to m minus 1, right? So if you see over here, my I is running for 0 to n minus 1 because this is less than only, and my j is running from 0 to m. So this is m minus 1. Actually it will end up to m minus 1. And over here ARR is my new array, j comma I is equal to original matrix I comma j, and I'll just return this new array. So this part is practically my step 2 and 3 together. So this is the code that I have written in Golang. You can replicate the same in any language of your choice. So that's it for this video today, and in case you liked the video and it was helpful for you, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also comment down below in case you want any particular question from Leetcode or Geeks for Geeks to be solved by us on Golang, or any other topics that you want us to cover for you guys using Golang. So go ahead and comment down below as much as you want, any topic on Golang, using Golang. We appreciate you guys to do that.